Okay, welcome this morning to House Human Services Committee. This morning we are going to be taking up our second department budget from the Agency of Human Services, the Department for Children and Families. And we have the interim commissioner here, Sandy Hoffman, and Megan Smeaton, the CFO. So welcome. You can, there's a spare chair there. You can.
Roll up the red carpet. We're gonna fold it in metal chair.
Luxury.
Good.
You haven't done, oh, yeah.
No.
I need to early, I'm like, yeah, October is when we sent the memo.
Yeah, I'm not, I'm just saying what you're saying. I'm not taking your side, just speculating on.
Okay. And Nolan, before you, like if you run off someplace, I need to talk to you.
I'm gonna be getting called at any moment to go down.
Well, I know that's what it's about.
Oh. Can we talk now or?
I'm
gonna get the call.
Oh, okay, all right. After then.
Sorry.
That's all right. That's okay. Okay, welcome. I'm sorry. The floor is yours. We've already done introductions with y'all, so you know who we are, and I think you know probably most everybody else in the room. So welcome, and we are happy to be sort of you can use us as guinea pigs for your dry run before you get to appropriations. If you get through House Human Services, then you've done really well because I think they're probably easier in appropriations than we are. We ask a lot of questions in House Human Services. So, and one of the things that I was just noticing, flipping through your presentation is I think you received a memo from the appropriations chair and vice chair back in October. I'm not sure. Were you there yet? I can't remember when you came on, Sandy, but Megan was certainly there. Around what we are expecting. And this doesn't exactly follow those instructions. And I'm just wondering if you have additional information that you're preparing and when that might be available if you are.
Yes, everything that was in that memo is in the budget book that we will be submitting. I will warn you, it is some light reading of about 160 pages. So you have that to look forward to if you need help sleeping at night.
Okay.
It's a very exciting document and it explains all of our programs, things we've done. It's got the annual report in it too. So we're excited about it. It's been about 20 years since it's
been done. Yeah. So, which is kind of what we were noticing around, not just your department, but, all in all this, the last, many years, actually, we've just been like looking at ups and downs and that really, we knew this year was going to be a rough year. And so we wanted to really, have a deeper understanding of the choices that you're making as a department and that we're all making as the Agency of Human Services, as well as, things that you're, looking to potentially reduce or eliminate, as well as those things that we're increasing in, particularly in some of the areas where I'll be honest, we've had a hard time tracking, like secure residential for youth and, the whole sort of juvenile justice area. Childcare has been easier to follow, but again, we know we've had a lot of changes in the childcare area, and of course, OEO and economic services are always a perennial favorite. So when do you expect that those will be coming?
after we're done today.
Oh.
We were hoping to get it
Yeah.
before.
Okay.
It's finished.
Okay.
Nelly had to run, so.
So we'll
Okay.
get it for weekend reading.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So
It's gonna be cold, so
it's
you'll be
gonna be
able to.
cold. You're gonna
Yes.
hunker down,
Yeah.
maybe a sweater and a cup of tea. And okay, so DCF team, and it's actually more in-depth reading for DCF team, but it really is. I encourage all of our committee members to be looking at all of the departments, not dissimilar to what AHS did as a whole agency. So thank you for letting us know about what's to come. I appreciate it. And we really do understand that that was a lot of work to do that. But I think it will help us to be, as we move through this budget process, it'll help us to be more on the same page around understanding exactly what the governor's budget does and what it doesn't do. So thank you. The floor is yours.
Okay, so for the record, I'm Sandy Hoffman, interim commissioner.
Megan Smeaton, CFO.
And do you want to go through the folks on, or only if we need to reach out to?
No, sure. I'd let them introduce themselves. Yeah.
Oh, should I stop sharing?
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that now.
Janet, can you introduce yourself? There we go.
Could the folks on online on Zoom, in Zoom land, could you introduce yourselves, please?
Hello, everyone. I'm Erica Radke, Deputy Commissioner of the Family Services Division.
Lisa?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lisa Rivers. I'm the Director of the Office of Child Support.
And Janet McLaughlin is the Deputy Commissioner for the Child Development Division. Is that it? Is there anyone else on?
All right.
Miranda will be joining.
I was just say, where's Miranda? and
She'll be here.
Libby?
Lily and Miranda will be here. It's cold weather weekends. We have a lot going on.
They have a lot going on. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right, so we
Where's
talked
yours?
about the budget book and the annual report. You'll be seeing that, and we're very excited about it. So that's a real in-depth look that you can, the slides are also really meaty, and I'm gonna go over them, but you can use them for reference and then go to the budget book to get a deeper dive into each of those subjects. The stuff that I don't get to on the slides, Megan will get to when she's going through the ups and downs, so you'll get the whole picture. So when we were preparing the budget this year, I think the agency, AHS, the secretary was in already and talked to you about taking an agency-wide approach. And you'll see that across all the budgets, that there was an executive leadership team. We got together and we looked at all of the programs across the agency and made some hard decisions based on the fact that there has been a wind down in federal funds and the state dollars aren't going as far as they have been. So we knew we were going to have to make some hard cuts, and we developed some criteria, again, used a holistic approach, measured, looked at the measures of successes, and then made those decisions. So we'll talk about those. You'll see those in ours, and then you'll see it across the board. Then there's also the housing initiative that will be in next week to talk about. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on that today because we're going to spend a lot of time on that next week. So I'll start with saying that DCF's mission is to foster the healthy development, safety, well-being, and self-sufficiency of Vermonters. We provide benefits, service, and supports to about 200,000 Vermonters every year, including children, youth, families, older Vermonters, and people with disabilities. So the
Can I
agency.
just ask a question? Do you, how do you want people to ask questions? Do you want to like go through a few slides and then sort of, and then take a pause, or what's easiest for you?
How about if we do that, because there are a lot of slides and then there's the ups and downs, and if I don't get to it, or if we move off, then
Right.
maybe we do that. Okay.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so the changes in the state fiscal year base appropriation include a 4.7 increase to the SFY 26 budget, 6.6% decrease to special fund, 14.3% increase to general fund, and then the comprehensive 31.4 million, 21.2 base and 10.2 one time.
Actually, reverse.
Oh, so
I would correct that.
sorry, the base is 10.2
Yes.
and the one time
It's
is 21.2. Okay,
So that's not what it says on your slide.
right,
We have
it
to correct
needs
that.
to be corrected.
Okay, and will you, because this is on the public record, will you send us a corrected copy? Thank you.
Oh, that's not good. Slide number 2, there's a mistake.
There's 30 more to go.
To be perfect.
Oh, my goodness.
Get it out of the
Yeah, that's
way.
the one.
Get over
That's the one, we'll see. Okay, and then on the next slide, you'll see the state fiscal year 26 passed, proposed, and recommended for 27. And then, the next one, these are the major funding sources for DCF. Like I said, I'm kind of cruising through these so you can spend time with the ups and downs and asking the questions. Further breakdown of funding sources.
When you say, I'm sorry, I'm backed up. When you say proposed adjustment, are you meaning, because BAA is still in flux, is that a proposed adjustment for 27, or does this take into
Yes.
consideration BAA or not?
It's not take, because BA is one time, so this is the as passed for 26, and then what we're proposing in.
In 20, for 27. Okay, thank you.
And can I just ask a clarifying question on the next slide? Isn't CDD's a major, oh, you said, it says federal, never mind.
One of the things that was in the requirements for our presentation was more information on federal funding sources. So we wanted to present this. There's more details in the budget book, but it just give you some information up front.
Okay. That's more, okay. Thought we were there. Okay, so the initiatives and adjustments in state fiscal year 26. That's the FSD subsidized adoption and substitute care caseloads, the ESD reach up support services.
So did you skip over a slide?
Yeah.
That one. Did you do that one?
I just brushed over it.
Yeah.
But this just shows you some of like the high level of over the 10 million and over 7 million, how much, which funding sources we draw on.
Okay. So you might want to slow down.
I will.
Just a little bit.
I will.
Okay. You guys have been living with it
Yeah.
and we have not, so.
And we figure we're gonna go into more detail after Megan will, but we can do that now.
That's okay. We just,
Okay.
you know, this gives us a chance to think about the questions that we're going to ask when we get to the detail.
That's why we're going fast today.
Yeah. That was a very good strategy, Sandy. All right. Yeah, no.
Okay, we good with that one?
Mhm. Yes.
Okay. And then the caseloads, the economic services, reach up, support services, GA personal needs and incidentals, aid for the aged, blind and disabled, and 3 squares. And the pressures, the agreement reductions to address funding limitations in admin, FSD, CDD, GA, and reach up. The initiative is the Governor's Housing Initiative. Again, we'll talk about that next week. The transportation contract, you've heard about that. OEO base HOP agreement growth and baseline funding for extreme cold weather shelters. And then the Pay Act and benefit adjustments, the internal service fund, the PNMI inflation adjustment, and the child care special fund revenue adjustment.
So I don't, on the caseloads, I don't, okay, I see it under pressures. Never mind. I was thinking about it under, sorry, I was, thinking out loud about, Child Development Division and the increase in the number of recipients of child care financial assistance. And so I was thinking about that as caseload. You have it under pressure. So, so I got it now. Okay, great. Thank you.
And then the proposed one-time appropriations is the temporary secure treatment facility funding and housing initiative. Oh, we have it right there. How did we not finish? So we've looked at it so many times. Administration and economic services. So admin is composed of 4 sub-budgets: the commissioner's office, the business office, ESD admin, and IT costs. ESD admin includes salaries for all ESD staff and operating funds, as well as an assortment of grants, and they're mostly SNAP related. And these specifics and highlights, the summary, we're going to go through that with the ups and downs.
So I have a question because it seems like every department has a little bit of a different take on who they include in admin. And I'm just wondering, is there overall, like some of the consistent ones are the, you know, the business office, commissioner's office, legal, some, you know, attorney generals. But so like I see ESD. I'm just curious why they're in admin.
Just the ESDS admin or the whole department?
It's all of ESD's personal services and operating. I think it's historical, like there's been changes with what constitutes departments over time and ESD has just been in our admin appropriation. ESD's appropriations are broken out a little bit differently than the other divisions. And it goes back a long time, so I don't know if I have an exact answer to that, but they have separate approaches for each of their programmatic budgets, whereas like FSD has like just the two, just secure residential, and then FSD.
Yeah, yeah.
CDD has just one.
So I might encourage some discussion around AHS around like what should be included in admin or what is different, because I mean, from sitting on this side, I would look at ESD and consider that to be it's a divisional budget. I would consider that to be something that would go there, but especially since it's only ESD, some folks put all state salaries in admin. Like Dale, everybody's there. So it seems like there should be some consistent way to define it, because otherwise, trying to look across departments in state government, we don't have a consistent definition, it doesn't seem, of what should be an admin. And maybe that's for Commissioner Gresham. I don't know, but okay, thank you for that explanation, Bill.
And then the next slide in the Family Services Division. The Family Services Division works in partnership with families, communities, and others to make sure children and youth are safe from abuse, their basic needs are met, and youth are free from delinquent behavior. They also ensure families are supported to achieve these goals. Those highlights, again, reference for you, but we'll get into more detail when Logan goes through it. And then there's a graph for FSD subcare and sub-adoption caseload trends. I think you asked about that in EAA, so
Yeah.
there it is. Then you have the subsidized adoptions caseload trends. And those are both going the directions we want them to go. In the Child Development Division, the CDD improves the well-being of Vermont children by developing and administering a continuum of high-quality, comprehensive child development and family support services that promote health and well-being, school readiness, and foundations for lifelong success. And then you have the average number of children enrolled in CCFAP by age group. The next graph. And then
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out, because we obviously have questions about, or want to know more about some of these things, and I'm not sure.
I would definitely ask you to hold the questions on this because Janet is not here right now. I mean, she's on, but she's doing
Yeah.
something.
Okay, okay.
So on those two CDD ones, you could hold off, that'd be great.
I'll try.
And then the Office of Child Support, OCS improves children's economic security by establishing, enforcing, and modifying child support orders for children who do not live with both parents, and collecting, recording, and distributing child support payments through the OCS registry. Aid to the Aged, Blind, and Disabled, AABD. This program provides a financial supplement to recipients of federal SSI who are over 65, disabled, or blind, and do not have sufficient income to provide a reasonable subsistence needed for their well-being, as defined in VSCA 33, Chapter 13. It also funds the Essential Person Program by providing cash assistance to household members whose care is essential to an aged or disabled person in the home.
So do you have any, do you do a cross-check at all with the Department of Disabilities, Aging and Independent Living to see if any of these people are also on Choices for Care, or maybe some of these people should, because they probably could get a more comprehensive set of services at Choices for Care? What's the?
That's what we're taking the whole holistic approach across the agency. We had a lot of discussions about that, about which programs are meeting the needs of, and are there redundancies? can we create better efficiencies and reduce the redundancies? So there was a lot of conversation about that.
So was the answer yes or no? Are there people who could, I will get it in the book, okay, but, it seems as though when I look at the definition of this, it's, you know, honestly, pretty comparable to the definition of people requiring long-term care in Choices for Care. And so, I'm just trying to figure out if there's a, like you just said, you know, more efficient, more, helpful way to provide these services. And maybe this is it. I just am curious to know, whether there's been, an actual look and a comparison of the needs of these folks. Are there any case management services for these folks? Do they have caseworkers that, you know, refer them potentially to Choices for Care as their needs get greater, you know, that kind of thing?
Okay. Can you hold off on that question and we'll ask?
Okay. Who is the contact for that?
Right.
Great.
And she's not on right now.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and Janet is on now.
Okay, great.
So can we go back for a minute before you go forward?
For Janet's question.
Janet's questions, yeah.
Slide 14.
Yeah, but, both of them, yeah, 14 and 15. Hi, Janet, thank you for letting us know that you're available. One, I'm glad to see what we're seeing, which is the intent of the Child Care Financial Assistance Program was to dramatically increase the availability of childcare. And I think that we'll probably have you in to do a whole thing as we undertake the pre-K discussion and the intersection with childcare, and of course the childcare educators licensing aspects. But could you just give us a little snapshot of the changes that have occurred in the overall program? When I look at that slide on 14, you look at the percentages, and the percentages are staying relatively constant. You know, the numbers are increasing, but the percentages are staying relatively constant. Which is that something that you were expecting? And I know that we've tried to increase infant and toddler capacity, and I'm just curious about infant and toddler in particular at this point in time.
Yeah. So hi, everybody. Janet McLaughlin, Deputy Commissioner in DCF, overseeing the Child Development Division. And I apologize. I had a doctor's office call me right as I was being asked to introduce myself, and I made a choice.
Good choice.
Thank you. So we know, right, that for childcare financial assistance, there were really two major changes made, you know, in coordination with each other. One was to increase the eligibility for childcare financial assistance so that families at higher income levels are eligible, as well as a little bit of expansion of categorical eligibility based on the service needs, because people need to have a reason for needing childcare in addition to having income qualifications. So there's just more families eligible now. And the other major change was an increase to the rates that the state pays on behalf of families that are eligible for childcare financial assistance, so that it now is, before there were times when even with financial assistance, it perhaps wasn't enough money to be able to cover the tuition at a number of programs. So those changes were made at the same time to make it eligible to more people and to make it more worthwhile for both programs and for families to participate. So both those things happen at the same time. We've seen this dramatic increase in the number of families who are eligible. And while the percentages are staying close to the same, I do think when you look at infants and you look at the box all the way to the left, for quarter 1 of state fiscal year 23, you can see that's 969 infants. And when you look all the way to the right, you see 1,976. So they really have doubled. That's the largest percent increase has happened for infants in terms of being eligible. So we do think that it was targeted, you know, it did sort of hit that target. But we definitely still do see, we don't, well, if we go to the next slide on capacity, if you wanted to do that.
Well, yeah, I would just, because that was going to be my question. I'm trying to figure out how we double the number of recipients, but stay relatively constant at the capacity.
Right. So I think for capacity, there's two, well, there's really one major factor there, which is that what this represents is licensed childcare capacity. It doesn't necessarily represent how many, exactly how many spaces programs are enrolling at that time, right? So there might be a program that is licensed to serve, well, 8 infants, and they're choosing to staff that room with, you know, choosing to only serve 6, you know, have 6 kids in that room. Or there might be a program that is licensed for infants, but they couldn't find, you know, because of their staffing because of workforce concerns, they might not have been able to open that room on the, and so what we're seeing, we think, based on some of the other analysis that's been done, is that programs are reporting that they're being able to operate at higher levels against their licensed capacity, but that data is a little trickier to put. It's not quite as easily accessible as the licensed capacity data. So, but what we are seeing is it's not dropping off. I mean, like, we're seeing it is, whereas if some charts earlier before, you would have seen licensed capacity more declining. So.
Okay, well, we will dive a little bit deeper into this, because I think that it's obviously it's something we've made a very large investment in the state. And so I think we need to understand that better. And I don't know if the big book describes a little bit more in detail. So for instance, if we compare to nursing homes, we know that they maintain roughly, a 10% vacancy rate in order to be able to adjust to the care needs of the different people who are there. And so if this is about capacity, I think the number that we really want to see is what were the actuals, and how that has changed over time. The actual number.
Yeah. And that's something that's tricky, right? Because you're right, childcare is offered through, hundreds of different businesses across the state. And so we don't actually, we don't require that for children who don't participate in childcare financial assistance, we don't actually require that they send us all of that data, but we do have some ways to back into it, because we just had to collect data for immunization purposes. So we can, we have some ways that we can estimate some of those that we can share with you. And the other thing I think that is relevant is to compare some of these numbers against national trends as well. Because you can see that in other states, they are seeing higher declines in childcare capacity.
Yeah. Okay. We'll definitely delve into this a lot deeper. But Representative Eustis, I think, had a question.
Oh, I think it's that we're going to wait.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you, Janet, for hopping on.
Mm-hmm.
We are on slide 18 now. So caseloads for AABD supplementary SSI payments have continued to steadily trend downward over the past 2 state fiscal years. One general assistance.
And do you know if that's because of lack of information about the availability of this? How do people get connected to understand about that they might be eligible for this?
No answer.
I think it would be helpful to have Miranda weigh in on that.
Okay. Go ahead, Representative Cole.
Just to piggyback, not only, knowing that it's available, but also, I've known several people who were actually experiencing homelessness too and weren't receiving SSI, but did qualify. And so it's real, difficulty of acquiring it, even if you are eligible. So the support's available for folks through the agency, better understanding what is going on to help folks who need help in acquiring that?
Yes, and we pay the federal government to administer these benefits on our behalf. So I think part of it is that when somebody becomes eligible for SSI, the feds send us a bill every month saying this is how much they paid out on our behalf, and we pay them, and then we also pay them an administrative fee for sending the money on our behalf. So I think the processes of that, I would look to Miranda to weigh in on, but a lot of it is just tied to receiving SSI benefits from the federal government.
I think Miranda will be with us in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
General assistance. GA provides emergency financial assistance to eligible individuals and families. This may include help paying for personal needs and incidentals, housing, fuel and utilities, medical and burial costs.
So we have the same questions here.
Similar, yeah.
Same questions that we had about AABD.
Okay. On the governor's housing initiative, we'll get into that more next week. This is just an overview of that. It's the next 2 slides. 3. And then 3 squares. 3 Squares Vermont is the federal supplemental nutrition assistance program, SNAP, which provides low-income households better access to a healthy diet while supporting American agriculture. Reach up.
And can we just ask, has there been any further hiccups in that, at the, are things running smoothly, I guess,
Yes.
with regard to federal receipts at this point?
Yes, right?
Yes, there's additional reporting that has to happen every time we draw down funding now, which is administratively difficult, but
Yeah.
it is working.
Yeah. And so your department, we didn't really talk about sort of ups and downs of numbers of employees and any changes in FTEs and stuff. I'm just curious, because you are getting hit with some additional reporting requirements from the feds in a few areas. And I'm just wondering if there's increased staffing required as a result of that.
Our budget presents increased staffing associated or continued staffing associated with the housing initiative. And those are the only positions.
Those are the only new positions. Are there any reductions in staff? Have there been any, are there any proposed reductions in staff?
Not in the budget.
I don't know. Your commissioner's saying yes.
Oh, yeah, there's one in admin, yes.
Okay, so there's one admin,
Yes.
okay. And is that admin in ESD or admin in real admin?
It's ESD admin. It's
ESD.
one case manager position associated with the Reach First program.
Okay, go ahead.
On SNAP, are there any current numbers available on the error rate, as that could in the future have the impact on budget?
Yeah, we just had a great, the state fiscal year 25 came in at 5.1.
Yeah, federal fiscal year. Yeah, so
That's good.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's not
that's
the
great.
A
final
little bit of breathing.
audited numbers,
Yes.
but the initial numbers, which are always positive to hear. So
Yeah.
very good to
Nice.
ESD.
Along that same lines, I guess the requirements moving forward are going to be around working and volunteering. Have you been thinking about how to track that and be able to deal with collecting that information so that we keep in that 5.1?
I'm sure Miranda is.
Okay.
Her
I just,
team.
I've heard a lot about states having some issues with trying to track that.
Yeah.
And so just trying to think about it before it's on our plate as a requirement. Okay,
Yeah, they're planners over there.
okay, love it.
So do you feel like you have, I guess I'm just gonna, continue to ask the question because there are additional federal requirements coming down. And while we don't like them, they are what we're kind of stuck with. And there's a lot of them, and I'm just trying to figure out how you'd be able to continue to do what you've been doing and then adding on these additional responsibilities. And are you looking at changing job descriptions? Are you looking at contracting, with community partners to help explain these changes to recipients? Are you looking at any of that kind of stuff?
Yes. Do you feel equipped to talk about that, or do you want to wait for Miranda?
We can wait for Miranda on the
Okay.
PST side.
Okay. All right. Did you have your hand up? Jubilee? No? Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Reach Up. Reach Up helps eligible parents gain job skills and find work so they can support their minor dependent children. Services include educational employment supports, case management services, and monthly cash payments to pay for basic necessities. Reach Up caseloads have been decreasing over the past year, which contrasts with our projected increase in caseloads we used for last year's budget, resulting in projected savings. Looking at historical data, one can see that cases have gone up and down over the years, and DCF has always adjusted its budget to reflect that. Low income heating and energy assistance program, LIHEAP. DCF's fuel assistance program has two components: seasonal fuel assistance operated by the Economic Services Division and crisis fuel assistance operated by the state's 5 community action agencies.
Go ahead, Representative Cole.
Sorry to go back just 2 slides to the Reach Up, or maybe it was 1 slide, but just, I am curious, when did it last go up? Let's see.
23.
23 at least.
Okay. Interesting.
What's,
Yeah.
Go ahead, Representative Fisher.
with the decreasing caseload and the appears $3.3 million downward adjustment, has there been discussion of changing the rateable reduction?
Yes, and there was a study done that I think there was a study done, and it would be a significant cost to increase it. And then when it goes up again, then you would have to maintain, or it would be a cut.
Correct, and also it would make, it might lead to larger caseloads as well, just because different eligibilities of population. So it's a difficult thing to project when the cost of when you change.
Can you say more about the connection between a change in rateable reduction and change that creating a change in or an increase in the caseload?
Again, I don't know if Miranda's here yet, but I think she
Okay.
could weigh in on the specifics more, but it's my understanding that.
We have a report on that. I don't remember if it was last year or the year
2 years
before,
ago.
2 years ago. Yeah, I think, I'll be honest, we are concerned, particularly in light of the rate of inflation and what that has been and the impact on these very, very low income families, that we are sort of continually seeing, decreases in this. And I realize it's because that the caseload has decreased, and we would expect increases if the caseload is increasing. And we're not expecting miracles, but we're expecting some recognition that what the state is doing right now is not consistent with livability for people to exist. When we have a rateable reduction of 50%, and we're basing some of this on information that is so outdated. And then when there's a potential opportunity to assist very, very low income individuals, that there doesn't seem to be any discussion of it, at least. And I'm not talking about, going from, a rateable reduction of 50% to none. I'm talking about, maybe making the rateable reduction 48% or 47%. And it's just really troubling when we're talking about the levels of these folks. So I had Ray first, and then Jubilee, and then Ann.
But that study does say about that percentage going up.
I know that study was commissioned by the legislature.
Right.
And we don't see the administration taking any efforts to make a change. That's what I'm referring to. Representative
Just to
Gephardt.
kind of follow up on that, and I know we continue to talk about this in this committee, and other committees every year. The bill that we passed also had a component in it to ask DCF to come up with a plan to actually change the rateable reduction, which I feel like, it's been 2 to 3 years, and I feel like that hasn't really come forward from the administration. And I was just wondering if there's any calculations that you guys have done. I have to go back and look at that report again from the bill that was produced. But do you know, Megan, if that had like each percentage point change, what that equates to? Because as the chair mentioned, like, we're not looking for a drastic change. We're just, it would be great if we can have small gradual change over the years, like a 5-year plan, a 3-year plan, to work towards something that is helping these families stay out of homelessness and higher costs services, keep them in their homes and keep them fed. And so just don't know if you guys are doing any of those internal calculations, because when we see reductions, it's just challenging to see that.
You see the reductions in the caseloads, and that's upsetting to you or concerning to you, is what you're saying,
Well, I'm
right?
just wondering why there's no plan to change the rateable reduction. I hear your reasons, but I wonder, like, is there any plan to do like a gradual change, small changes, to the chair's point?
At this point, no. We've been focusing on homelessness and addressing that. So we've been doing a lot of work in that arena. We look at that study. It was $5.5 million for a small increase. So it's weighing priorities and focusing on what we think, where we think we can make a difference. So I hear the frustration, but there's limited resources, and that's including the staff doing the work and looking at what we can do and trying to figure out how to address the problem overall.
We do have a number of reach out families who are homeless.
Right.
Go ahead.
Well, and that's about, I glad you brought up homelessness, because we do have to look at the big picture and what's happening on the federal level. And it may not be this grant cycle, but we know that as soon as they can, HUD is looking to drastically cut vouchers. And the only way you can exist on the current reach up amounts is either being homeless in a shelter or having a voucher. So we're having these conversations. There is not a single place in Vermont where you can rent a home with your reach up benefits without having a voucher. So you look at these numbers, and we're going to, 3,000, a little over 3,000 folks. When this happens on the federal level, all of those who are not already homeless are going to be homeless. That is going to be thousands of families entering homelessness. And this is our one way where we can support them. So I really hope we can have more conversations and do something about this to put more pockets into the families, more money into the pockets of families, because we're calling this a homelessness crisis now. Like, this will be like nothing we've seen before in Vermont, if we don't figure out a way to prepare now, because it's coming. It's just a matter of when.
Representative Donovan.
A bit of the same point, but briefly, when I think about how we look at virtually everything else in terms of employees, staff, so forth, we recognize that there needs to be an inflationary increase, and that if there weren't, it's a decrease. So I don't think we're talking about increasing. I think we're talking about not continuously decreasing what these families are getting by keeping it level when we know costs, and particularly, as has been underscored already, the costs of housing and the relationship. Talk about wanting to put efforts into homelessness, and if we're not preventing homelessness by cutting people's base fare supports, it's a bit sad.
You have another question?
Unrelated to, but it might be a Miranda question, but just looking at the reach up slide, the third line says agreement reductions. Can either one of you speak to what that is?
Yes, I mean, we can go through that in more detail when we get to the app stuff.
Okay.
I think
We can wait.
we're just trying to get
Thank you.
into slides first.
Okay, go ahead. I'm just,
I could
we're gonna have a lot of detailed questions when we get to the details, so,
hold off.
okay, that'd be good. Thanks. You okay, Rep. Klein?
Yeah, just confused on some of the stuff, but I'll get to that.
Okay.
Not confused, just actually rather concerned, but far away.
Okay.
OEO administers funds to help organizations address poverty through community initiatives and direct services in the areas of financial capability, homelessness assistance, and community services. This includes core federal funding for community action agencies and homeless shelter and service providers. OEO weatherization. The Low-Income Home Weatherization Assistance Program reduces energy costs for low-income families by improving the energy efficiency and comfort of their homes while ensuring their health and safety. The Home Weatherization Assistance Program Fund provides state funding for weatherization through a fuel tax on all non-transportation fuels sold in the state. And then the Secure Residential Treatment Facility. We'll get into more discussion about that now. Disability Determination Services, DS provides applicants with accurate medical eligibility decisions as quickly as possible, as governed by Social Security federal statutes, regulations, and policies with full and fair consideration of each applicant's situation, respect, and concern for the individual's well-being and legal rights. And we'll just note that DDS is a national leader. I think Rep. Donahue talked about that last time we were here. An average initial case processing time is 70.5 days, and the national average is 190 days. And the initial decisional accuracy is 99%, which is among the top 10 states. They process 6,488 SSA claims and 254 state Medicaid claims first. Federal fiscal year 25. Okay. So those are the slides.
Do we have, Megan, do we have yours?
Fine.
Slides?
Slides?
Yeah.
You have, is it the spreadsheet?
So we have the ups down so we can talk through.
Well, we need to see them.
You don't have-
Yeah, I can pull them up.
No, we'd like to have them
to
forwarded.
Oh, I thought Nellie sent them.
Yeah, that's it. Spreadsheet?
We don't.
No, we don't have that.
Okay, I think Nellie's on, so I'll see if that's.
See, Lily is on now too. Good morning, Lily.
Good morning, everyone. Lily Sojourner, the Director of the Office of Economic Opportunity.
For people online, we're just waiting for the spreadsheets to be forwarded to us so that we can follow along.
I normally present a spreadsheet that has a narrative on it, but we were told that you preferred the Word format document book version this time around.
It's whatever, I was gonna say, you had the option of doing one or other of the both. It doesn't, whatever. I'm sure we'll have questions either way, so. Did you receive anything?
No. Nothing except that overview.
Yeah. And Lori just double checked, so, at the health department yesterday, we saw the summary, ups and downs spreadsheet. So,
That
yeah,
one.
that's what we saw, yeah.
So, I don't know how long it'll take to get this to you. I could try something up, I'm sharing my screen. I will send it to Lori.
Perfect.
Nellie's also working on it.
Do you have the one that has the narrative over on the side too?
I do not have that.
Okay.
We did the budget book version. but-
Okay, you did that in that. Okay, all right. Well, good. We'll have that.
I also want to hear about the. To the.
When we do the building, yes.
That'd be
Yes,
in
that will be in
Erica's
Erica's
area.
yeah.
Erica, just as a heads up, we're gonna be asking about social security, SSI benefits for, kids in custody. Federal ruling on that.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
That's what you meant, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what I thought.
Yeah. Do you want her to talk about that now while we're waiting for?
Sure.
Erica, could you talk about that now while we're waiting for the stuff to be sent? Do you have specific questions?
Well, we haven't seen the ups and downs, so what we're wondering is how the department's gonna be coming into compliance with that, guidance from the federal government that money should be going to the, children and youth. Because historically, we've used that in Vermont to reduce our payments, that go out to foster care providers.
Yes, I know that there's still some discussions going on, but philosophically, we are absolutely aligned that those funds should go back to the children and youth. But there's an issue of whether or not it leaves a significant hole in our budget, around $400,000 that would need to be made up. And I do want to point out that the funds, when they come in, they're absolutely used for the care, for services for the youth. It's not just sort of thrown into the pot for, regular FSD use. And generally, the cost of care for the youth absolutely extends past what is provided by Social Security. But in those rare instances when there is an excess of funding from Social Security, when the child leaves custody, we do send that money to the child. And we have also been, in some cases, when children are exiting out of custody in a year or so, we've been working with them to get these payments shifted over to a representative payee so that they can begin the normalcy and the regular skills that they need to become an adult. So we're shifting the payments over and they're beginning to work with their representative payee on how to use the funds responsibly. But if there are any other specific questions.
Yeah, just so your interpretation of the federal requirement is that it can be used for their care and doesn't have to be put aside for them when they exit state custody or given to them while they are in state custody. Your interpretation is that that money can continue to be used the way it has been used.
I have not seen this specific information. If there's a new change, I'd have to look at it and circle back. But as far as what I was made aware of, it was not a strict mandate that it had to be used directly for the youth or given to the youth. It's always used for the youth.
I'm not a lawyer, so.
I say that holiday.
Yeah, I know, and if we're discussing a little, well, I know that in other parts of our state government, we do similar things in terms of charging for a person's care through their, this is Social Security.
Pays for their room and board, yeah.
Yeah, pay for their room and board out of their benefits or what have you. So it's not that this is appropriate, but the philosophical thought about that exists, and I think is worth questioning.
So what I'm hearing you say, Deputy Commissioner, is that it is not a directive or a new rule. It is
It's
guidance.
And yes, and if we were able to have a different source, I think as a division, we would be happy then to not even use those funds for the care and support of those youth, but to save them for them or provide them to them when they exit care. But at this point, we're absolutely using them for their care, which is what they would do with their families as well. And then when there are additional needs outside of that, we are supplementing that to make sure they get the care that they need.
Okay.
Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Go ahead, Representative Donovan.
On a separate topic, but if we're doing some discussion because we're waiting for the,
Yeah.
just a little, reminder piece. I know that the transportation costs are in one of the ups as well, and we are still awaiting the report promised last April on the transportation issues around physical restraints in transportation. And we've been promised it repeatedly, and we've still been promised it and still haven't seen it. So
Thank you for that reminder. We are absolutely going to get you the more granular detail that you're requesting. I know that we did send some information up breaking out the transportation versus our regular transportation of kids to school or to appointments versus secure transportation. And it sounds like you're needing some additional information that we need to get from the sheriffs, and we're still working on it, but we will get it to you as soon as we can.
I appreciate it because I think the question and discussion was really, really clear last April. And, the report that we got a couple of weeks ago was not remotely on target for the specific information request. So it continues to be, it's not a new request here. It's the same question.
Being as I wasn't here in April, do you think you could reiterate it and then I can make sure that you get what you need?
Sure.
If you want to
In the last 2 weeks, I was asked that and I did send that again.
Okay.
And I can't remember who that, I think it was.
It wasn't me.
Your
I'll
office.
find out. And then-
Okay, I mean,
I will look into it.
Nellie, was it
Nellie, yeah,
Nellie?
Nellie and I had a conversation about it and, but it is specific to the use of physical restraints during the secure transportation, which is explicitly called out in Vermont state law in terms of it being contrary to state policy and the rare exceptions and,
So you're talking about mechanical restraints or an intervention, used as an intervention?
mechanical restraints during transportation.
And yeah, what we ended up providing was the percentage of restraints as part of our overall budget, which is very, very low. But what you're looking for, I understand, is how many times mechanical restraints were used in transportation for youth. And that's going to take us, as you know, we are limited in our computer expertise. So that's going to require us to reach out to the sheriffs to determine, maybe they can look back in their files to determine what type of restraint was used for what kid and when.
So now this is going to cause me to ask a follow-up question. That is not something that you routinely request. Isn't that something that you would want to know whether a child was put in, I'm just going to say, put in handcuffs or zip tied? You don't want to know that?
That would come in, like, I think, generally, depending upon the youth, we would already know who would be used with handcuffs. And I know that they would have that in their reports. And also, if a kid were going to court, we would have a worker meeting them there. So that was something we would be aware of. But in terms of keeping the number of those youth, it's not something that we have really any kind of capability to carve that out in our computer system. That's something we're going to have to reach out to the deputies and the sheriffs to get.
So just to note, I mean, in the discussion I had when Nellie asked me, for specifics, it's something that the Department of Mental Health hosts in their, whatever it's called, the indicators reports on a quarterly basis for youth who are in the custody of the mental health commissioner who are being transported. So this is a real discrepancy between departments about recording it. This is, the sheriff's department used to have a policy, if we transport, we shackle. That went for children who were being moved from one non-secure group home to another non-secure group home. That's why we passed the statute back in 2005, I believe. And then later, because it wasn't being enforced, we passed another statute that said the Agency of Human Services were not allowed to contract for transportation unless the contractors, the sheriffs, for example, committed to following the requirements. And so, these requirements are in place. So it's kind of is alarming, to say the least, that it's not being tracked at all in data when it's so explicit in state law about this being done.
So,
and again, April's a long time ago it's going to take time to work on it.
Can I just tell you that there is a recently identified team at DCF that's looking at restraint, seclusion, how we capture data. So this will incorporate this moving forward. We'll look at what we have going back and get that to you, but we are looking at it now.
Thank you.
Okay, members, we do have Megan's spreadsheet on our website, and I regret to inform you that I am sure that we are not going to get through it all in the next 17 minutes.
See, if I talked faster.
Yeah, I know.
I was prepared.
I know. We'll get through as much as we can, and then we'll have you back. And of course, by that time, we will have your book, you'll.
Maybe you won't even need us once you dig it
For
out.
questions, no.
This is actually the book, not the spreadsheet.
No, the book is on, yeah, well, don't open the book up yet, folks,
Okay.
because that's just gonna, we're gonna be having DCF back, so don't open up the book. Just open up the spreadsheet.
You won't be able to put it down.
Okay, no questions from the book.
Okay.
We will be making sure you've read it though.
I do not blame you, frankly, we asked for something, we need to do that. So I do not blame you, and
Fair comment.
it is absolutely fair. Okay. Go for it, Megan.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump through salaries and fringe because we have a lot to get through and those are not terribly exciting to talk about, and you all sort of understand what they
Except
are.
before you do,
Okay.
I wish if you could just summarize again, what I got from you is that there is one reduction, one FTE reduction. Is that a RIF or is that a vacant position?
So that's actually below. It says.
Oh, that's below. Okay.
So the first ones are just like the annualization of pay act stuff.
Okay. Well, I see reach first admin.
Yeah, so that is position. So there's a TANF revenue realignment. We talked about that in BAA. We don't need to go into that. The next item on there is the temp staff cut. We're eliminating 2 temporary positions, one in the commissioner's office and one in the business office as part of our admin efficiencies to meet our budget goals. We have the Reach First admin cut. That is one position that is shortly to be vacant that we are eliminating as a result of the fact that when we get to the Reach Out section of the budget, you'll see we are eliminating the Reach First program.
So having been a direct participant in the creation of it, I do have some questions because it wasn't at the time just about doing something good to help families. It was much more significant. So.
Yes, we understand. There's a lot of really difficult conversations.
We stood to lose a huge amount of federal money. We brought in outside experts. It was created in part, it was also good practice, but in part to prevent a significant loss of federal funds. So I want to hear about how we're not going to lose those federal funds by eliminating this really specific tool.
Was that the maintenance of effort for TANF?
Yeah, we don't need to get into it now, but.
You
yeah.
just did.
Well, in more detail. I mean, we don't need to get into the answer to why it's not going to hurt us now all of a sudden and so on and so forth. For right now, but.
Our budget teams, you know, you're lucky you have 6 people, 7 counting me. But, from our, you know, meager committee here who will be, in close contact with your division directors.
So we have a revenue true up to align with how we actually earned the revenue last year. And then there'll be 3 line items on here, one in the personal services, one in operating, and one in grants out. It said SNAP admin federal changes. And this is a result of the HR1 bill that was passed by the federal government, changed the amount of admin funding that we get for SNAP from 50% to 25%. So we have significant general fund pressures as a result of that. And again, this is for the staffing component, but these are people who work with our eligibility, and we have to make sure that we're maintaining that low error rate to meet the 6% threshold to avoid an even larger financial impact. So that's that. And then we have the housing initiative, limited service positions. And again, we are coming in next week to really dive into the weeds on that. So maybe we can skip over those for now.
We can skip over the housing ones because we will do a deeper dive on that next week. I just want to come back to the SNAP share change thing. So I think I was expecting, you know, this is a sort of a lesson for committee members. You can't just go all the way over to the right and see 0, meaning that it's a net neutral. It's not really net neutral like in SNAP. It's additional state funds that are being required and the loss of federal funds. So that's a big jump, but I was expecting a bigger jump.
Yes, we had heard 6 million.
Yeah.
In the
So
news.
there's
And
Okay.
another line down below in operating. We have to put the ups where our budget aligns, right?
Okay, so-
salaries, there's an operating one and then there's a grants out one.
Okay.
And together they sum up to about 4.5. The 6 will be a whole year, but we are on the federal, this started on the federal fiscal year. So
Quarters.
it's 10-1.
Okay. Okay.
But under that, all right, this year.
Thank you.
So then skipping through the ISFs, because those are pretty routine in nature, except our ADS one is a significant increase. The maintenance of.
So, I'm sorry, I'm not going to skip over ADS because I'm going to ask you to see if you have any idea about how that is. All we keep hearing, okay, is that it's an allocation change. Do you know what the allocation is based on?
Get the number from AHS, so I would have to direct you to the AHS central.
We're gonna have ADS in the room this afternoon
ask them.
with Erica and crew. So we're gonna ask that question because it's like, it's big jumps for everybody. And it's, I don't think it's net neutral, but it's hard to track, you know, it's not neutral for you, I know. And I understand it going out to individual departments, but yeah. Okay, thank you. I just thought it's the trick question that I'm asking everybody and everybody has the same answer. We just get it from AHS. So you're all being consistent. I love that.
You got our story straight ahead of time. So then the next line on here is the maintenance of an operation cost for our IUNI noticing solution. So this is the first portion of the integrated eligibility and enrollment system going live into the maintenance and operation phase, and the costs are allocated between DCF and DEVA. We have our income verification system, which we talked about in BAA. That's a continued need as we go forward. Then you see some more revenue true ups, another $1 million for admin operating for SNAP as a result of HR1. And then we have 3 administrative efficiencies that we're proposing. ESD believes that between state cell phones and office phones, we can eliminate desk phones and save some money there. And then also saving some money on office supplies. And then we're proposing a reduction of vehicles also within the commissioner's office, specifically for our AAGs.
I have a question.
So just quickly, is there any, I'm not seeing anything related to equipment or supplies needed for return to office. And I know like people had to lease up, and I don't know if BCF was involved in any of that, like you're utilizing the space and the equipment that's already allocated.
And then the last portion of the SNAP admin federal share, we also have HR 1 eliminated the SNAP education program. And so while we didn't have any general funds invested in that, we are removing the federal funding from our budget since that is no longer a program.
Can I ask about the one just above that, the 654,000? So under grants, so who received that grant? So what community part, is that, did that go out to community partners in some way?
Yes, so that is some SNAP admin agreements that we have. I can get the actuals. I don't know if Miranda is online.
I think she is online, or she was. Are you there, Miranda, still, or?
I am, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Apologies.
I'm not
for
sure if
my
you heard the
delay.
question. The 654,000 in SNAP admin under grants, what community partners is that impacting?
Yep, so Hunger Free Vermont would be one of the partners. There's also some councils on aging, I want to say. So there are community partners that help with the education that would that have the lots of funding, but they have to increase their contributions. So we're still trying to understand with them their ability to do that increase from the 50-50 to the 50 to 75 for them. Because I think they were having to explore what they were going to be able to do or not be able to do.
Okay, I'm a little confused a little bit because you spoke about education. So I see, I recognize the 437,000 under education going out to community partners. I think people have had some time to understand and adjust that was coming. I'm looking at the admin part, the 654,000 that is under grants.
I think that's like outreach, Miranda. I don't know if you know.
Yes, sorry, and okay, yes. So my apologies. So the SNAP outreach, that is Hunger Free Vermont, Councils on Aging, and that is, and sorry, I would just be repeating myself, so I'm trying to think of how to say it.
So are you saying that all these folks received that, I guess, outreach as well as program education? In other words, is it a $1.1 million cut to those same organizations if you were to put
Backfilling the first line with general. So it's not actually.
Oh, okay, yes, thank you, sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, I missed that. I'm just looking at the reds, sorry. Okay,
So
all right.
just that.
So it's just the education part. Okay, my apology, Miranda. Make note of that. I apologize to Miranda. Okay.
The next one.
Yes. Moving on to the next line item on there, it's the 211 hour reduction. We are proposing moving away from a 24/7 operation of the housing 211 line, because between the hours of 11 p.m. and 8 a.m., we are unable to place people in hotels. If they were to call, all we can do is inform them they should call back after 8 a.m. And so as a result, we are proposing that there can be administrative efficiencies achieved by reducing the hours of operation for that program.
So when I ask 211, is that what they're going to say? That they just tell people to call back at 8 o'clock?
Miranda?
I am sure that they will have, a different feeling on this. But I think I know, but I know what I experience and I know what I hear from others when they aren't able to get through or they aren't able to get the support that they thought they were going to get there as well. So I don't believe that there is an actual impact on the Vermonters. Their experience won't be different. It would just be clearer for everyone what the hours of operation truly are.
They're not placing people, they're not doing that. They're saying in the morning, call back in the morning.
That's
Are you
what I just
thinking-
asked when
are you thinking
when I
it's
asked him
different?
On that question, I'm gonna presume.
I think it would be surprising to us if they say anything different than that.
Okay, well,
And it should.
I think you should be prepared to be surprised.
Okay, I'll brace myself.
Okay,
Then the last item is part of the housing initiative, so we passed that as well.
go ahead, Representative.
Say it's part of the housing initiative, but this relates to something fairly discrete, that's natural disasters.
Yes, so the housing initiative has many lines in the budget, so as we
That'll
go.
be in there.
And in the budget book, and I'm not supposed to be taking a sneak peek yet, but there is a whole section just for the housing initiative because we thought it would be helpful to be able to see it as a package deal as opposed to like scattered between the different appropriations.
We agree. This is a good place to stop, since we're, just at noon, so, so we're gonna obviously have to have you back, and we'll figure out a time between here, there, and whenever you're downstairs and whenever we're doing the housing, and I'm going to encourage people, actually, we don't have everybody sitting here, but I'll make sure everybody gets it. The overnight reading over the weekend when you're all warm, when you're warm in your homes and the people who are homeless are not. Will you please make a particular effort to read the housing section because we're gonna have in-depth discussion from all of the AHS departments about that next week. So it'd be helpful and I think you will be able to ask, more informed questions based upon what we see there. So, thank you all, and thank you for people who were here online. Sorry we didn't get to everything that we had hoped to. But we will, have you back when we can figure out scheduling is not easiest. But appreciate the information, appreciate getting the book and everything, and we'll definitely be reading it over the weekend.
Sure, enjoy it.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks.
Okay, committee members, we are back at DCF topics at 1. We're downstairs, Lauren? Downstairs in room 11. We will be talking about CWIS, Child Welfare Information System. We're going to be looking at an update on how system development is going, what the issues are, what the results and how the recent outage was handled, what some of the vulnerabilities are, et cetera. Okay, so downstairs at 1.